Gene DeVideo of Clearview Audio. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Joining us now is James Grace, who is with the Panasonic Corporation. Mr. Grace, what do you do with Panasonic?
I'm the Director for New Product Development in the automotive area.
And what kind of products is Panasonic developing for the automotive industry?
Well, we have a lot of business right now in what we call multimedia or infotainment. We're actually, a lot of people don't know this, but we're #1 market share globally, actually, in multimedia, audio, infotainment systems. So a lot of what I do is looking at the future of those products, but we're also trying to branch out into some other product areas. A lot of what we do in the automotive space is take our technology from the consumer area or other areas of Panasonic's business globally and figure out how to apply it to automotive. So that's a lot of what I do in the automotive space, is figuring out how to bring that technology into the automotive space.
So what are some of the products that you're displaying here?
Well, we have, we call this the rotary control tablet, or sometimes we call it the next-gen integrated center stack. The big innovation here is the knobs that we invented. There's been a trend in recent years towards cars being designed to use all touch screens, eliminating knobs, and it kind of has a new high-tech feel to it, but it's also caused some problems in terms of the systems being a little bit harder to use. So what we've done is developed these knobs, and they're actually patented Panasonic technology that allows us to put a rotary knob right on top of the display. So it's kind of one of these best of both worlds situations. So
this would be built into a car?
Yeah, so you can imagine that this might be built into the center stack of a car, where you control the radio or the navigation system.
All right.
And it's we've designed it to be, we think, really easy to use. You can kind of put it into that dual screen mode or the full screen map mode. But the real kind of innovation here is if you look at this knob, the function of this knob kind of changes as you use the system. So if I push here, it becomes an HVAC knob. And what it does is it allows me to get all the benefits of a touch system where I can reconfigure everything. I can use the color of the display to tell the customer what the function is, but they can actually reach out and touch an actual knob as well. We think that's a safer solution as well as being a better solution.
How do you address the issue of distracted driving? With all this equipment in cars today, we're all fiddling around with buttons and knobs and displays.
Yep, that's actually a big issue that we're trying to help solve, which is actually a good segue to this other product that we have on display. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to bring the entire interior of this vehicle here, but we developed this thing that we call the driver-focused HMI. And the idea behind that is that we took all the stuff that might normally be found in the center of the car, and we moved it in front of the driver. And the target that I gave the team in designing this system was to exceed all of NHTSA's requirements. And in one case, we've exceeded them by more than 30% in terms of, there's a requirement that says that you're not allowed to put displays low in the driver's vision. So we've designed this thing to...
And that's an actual requirement by NHTSA?
Yes, absolutely. And it's designed to keep you from putting a display sort of next to the driver's knee or something like that, where you're having to look down in order to operate it.
All right.
But what we did is we put all of the content that might normally be found in the center stack of the car and put it in front of the driver. So everything is designed around a two-layer menu system, so you only ever have to go up, down, or left, right in the menu system in order to get access to everything.
That's what it looks like right here?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a display, Darren.
We put everything in this instrument cluster as well as a head-up display. So a head-up display is actually a good example of technology that comes from our consumer space. Turns out a head-up display in a car is not all that different from a projector. And Panasonic's been in the projector business for a long, long time. So we're taking that technology and applying it in the car, which gives us head-up displays that are actually 40% smaller than our competition. And the benefit there is that we think our customers can put them in more cars, and the more head-up displays there are in cars, we think that's a way of addressing safety.
What kind of regulations do you have to deal with besides just having things on the side of the car? I mean, when it comes to a heads-up display, does that have to be approved?
Absolutely. Another big requirement that we designed around in this driver focus system is a task time requirement. So NHTSA has guidelines that say that you should be able to complete any task in the system in less than 15 seconds, 2 seconds at a time. So if you're looking at the screen, you can look at it for 2 seconds, look back to the car, and you should be able to do anything within 15 seconds. So it could be entering a navigation destination, finding a song on your iPod. It's very broad in its definition. And we think the benefit here of this 2-layer menu system is we put everything only 2 steps away. So you can see here there's only 4 domains: audio, navigation, information, and settings. And then each one of those domains has a drop-down menu. So we think we've exceeded those requirements as well in terms of getting the customer to access all those features. And one of the things that the team did was we left a lot of stuff out, and I think that's really the key to making systems that are both like really fun to use for customers and safer to use. So for example, there's no way of typing a navigation destination into the system. You can't type A, B, C, D. We use voice for that. Or one of my favorite features that we implemented is there's an app where the passenger, and it's showing it right there on the screen right now, we call it the remote pilot app. So right now most people are using their phone in the car, the passenger's looking up what restaurant they're going to, and then somebody's got to type that destination into the system. Here you can just find where you're going and then hit a button, and it sends the destination to the car, and then the customer gets a pop-up in the head-up display that says, hey, you're getting an incoming destination, would you like to go there? And we think that's a way of giving people access to what they're doing anyway, using Yelp in this case right now to find this destination. And as soon as she hits that button there, it's going to go right to the head-up display, and it immediately gets into the navigation system. The driver never had to fiddle around with typing anything in. So we really designed this system around kind of a new way of looking at the interior of a car that we think is both safer and easier to use and more enjoyable, to be honest.
What about use of voice in some of this equipment in cars? Yeah,
that's another area where Panasonic actually has a pretty good advantage. We've been in the microphone business for a long time, and we do a lot of systems. For example, active noise control is a system in a car where there's a bunch of microphones and it's detecting the road noise, and then we actually generate sound in the system that cancels out the road noise. It's a way of making a car seem quieter. So those microphones, that same technology can be used to improve a lot of voice rec as well. We have one piece of technology where you can, we call it the array microphone, and basically just means there's a couple different microphones, and you can blow wind noise across it, and it's almost as though you're sitting in a library talking. So we think those kind of technologies will help us to make speech recognition performance better, because right now it's a little irritating to people when they say, hey, tune to this radio station, and it says, did you say roll down the windows or something like that, right? So we think that those technology advantages will help make it easier and better.
Is technology in cars exploding?
Yeah, I think it is. I've been talking a lot lately when I'm doing speaking engagements and that sort of thing about something that I call the carness of the car. I think for the past 10 years since I've been a part of the industry, we've kind of had this explosion of more and more technology, and in a lot of ways trying to duplicate what people have in their consumer devices in the car. And in a lot of cases, I think we've kind of gotten away from what it means to be driving a car, which is actually really fun, and cars are amazing. So I really like driving them. I think a lot of people do as well. And I think we need to start focusing the technology on how to make the customer's driving experience better. That navigation example I gave is a good one, where people don't want to be bothered with typing in where they're going. If you can just hit the button and it goes there, I think that's better. So I really think the innovation that's going to make cars safer and better is when we start to say, just because we can doesn't mean we should. Let's design stuff that's really focused on making the car experience better.
James Gray, some of the stuff we're seeing, is it on the market?
Not quite yet. We haven't announced a customer for the rotary control tablet yet, although we've gotten quite a lot of interest around the world. I was just in China, of all places, last week showing that off at a conference. Got a lot of, if I had 100,000 of them with me, I could have sold them all. Unfortunately, I only had the one. And then this concept here was really a vision that we had, although you have seen companies like Audi and BMW showing concept cars that really reflect a very similar idea. So I think it won't be too long before you see either one of these things on the road.
Some of the new automotive technology being put out by Panasonic. Benjamin Chen.